Sexual violence in conflict has become a weapon of choice because it is cheap, silent, and effective. Instead of bullets or bombs, the perpetrators employ barbarism and brutality. Sexual violence in conflict ruins lives, fuels conflict, and causes lasting damage. The suffering caused by sexual violence does not end, and even if the women are released or escaped. Survivors are often stigmatized by their communities, rejected by their families, infected with sexually transmitted diseases, and at increased risks for committing suicide. For all of these reasons, sexual violence is almost universally underreported. For each rape reported, it is estimated that 10 to 20 go unreported. The great injustice is that in the aftermath of sexual violence, the women live in shame while the perpetrators live free. Madam President, I look around the world today and see an epidemic of sexual violence. The number of victims is so large and so overwhelming that we often lose sight of the fact that we are speaking about individuals. We're speaking about Arwa, a 15-year-old Yazidi girl who was captured and raped by ISIS fighters and whose sisters are still in the hands of the Islamic State. And we're speaking about Noah, an 11-year-old from Yemen who was forced to marry a much older man who abused her. Arwa and Noah have been robbed of their childhoods, families, and their dreams. Many other girls and women have also been robbed of their lives. They might have been silenced, but we cannot be silent. We cannot be silent when we are told that female genital mutilation and forced marriage are acceptable cultural norms. No, they're not. And we cannot be silent when extremists misconstrues religion to permit sexual assault and slavery. There can be zero tolerance for barbaric acts that should have been relegated to the Dark Ages. Madam President, our family of nations is failing millions of families throughout the world, particularly in the Middle East and North Africa. With every passing day, ISIS militants and brutalize scores of women and enslave them every day. Last summer, ISIS advanced through the remote communities of northern Iraq, lining up men by the side of the road and shooting into mass graves. They kidnapped thousands of Yazidi and Christian women and girls and held them in Mosul's Badush prison. The reports from this prison are shocking. Women are raped numerous times a day. Young girls are forced to call their parents to detail being gang raped by dozens of men. The captured women and girls are sold as bribes to Islamic fighters for as little as $25 or given as sabaya, a reward for fighters. ISIS is just one of the radical extremist groups that seek to subjugate women. There's also Boko Haram in Nigeria and Chad, Al-Qaeda in Yemen, like-minded militias in Libya, Al-Shabaab in Eastern Africa. These groups seek to control every area of a woman's life: how she dresses, how she spends her days, whom she marries, and how many children she has. Madam President, sexual violence as a tool in war is not a woman's issue. It is a crime of humanity against humanity. Victims of sexual violence should not stand alone. All of us, governments, civil society, UN agencies, must work together to pass stronger laws, strengthen enforcement mechanisms, and introduce tougher penalties for offenders. If a nation refuses to prosecute domestic sexual abuse, martial rape, and honor killings in times of peace, then there is little hope for justice in times of war and conflict. Our sages teach us that, and I quote, "It is not what one says, but what one does that makes all the difference in the world," end of quote. We've held the debates and passed the resolutions, but we have yet to make a difference we need to make. The time has come for meaningful action. The victims and survivors of sexual violence deserve nothing less. Thank you, Madam President.